introduce yourself for the record.
Good afternoon, Chairman, and to distinguished members of this committee. I am Kouri Marshall, a community advocate and a fierce supporter of mentorship programs for urban youth. Today, I'm here as the Director of Public Policy and Public Affairs for the Chamber of Progress, where we advocate for technological innovations to benefit Americans. Today, we address our concerns with Senate File 4696, which would produce a worse online experience for Minnesotans and almost certainly will fail in court. As written, this bill requires platforms to let a varied set of account holders rate content they deem as low or high quality and mandates algorithms to prioritize content accordingly for all adult users, severely limiting access to content based upon new interests. SF 4696 directs platforms to serve content based on popularity in accordance with user preference, with no guidance on how to resolve situations where users' preference does not align with or has not indicated a preference for a particular piece of content. Worse still, the opposite threat is just as problematic. Bigoted users could coordinate to rate racist, sexist, or homophobic content as high quality, tricking the system and algorithm, potentially forcing social media platforms to show deeply unsettling content to the public. Think about the consequences if radical groups were to brigade these platforms, as they commonly do, downvoting information on body autonomy or gender-affirming care. If companies may only rank content based on its popularity with other users, then the public may lose access to critical health information, as is already happening in red states all across the country. It's easy to just Google that. This bill would impose account holder daily limits regulating all adult users' social media usage in the initial 30 days of opening an account. This requirement blatantly restricts access to constitutionally protected speech. An open internet free from government surveillance and censorship is critical to modern freedom of expression. We all want to create safe online spaces, above all for the most vulnerable members of our society, but the legislator may not so broadly infringe on Minnesotans' First Amendment freedoms. The recent rulings from courts in Arkansas, California, and Ohio underscore the principle that regulatory measures impacting the core editorial and curatorial functions of social media companies, even when intended to safeguard users, Mr. Chairman, are subject to rigorous constitutional scrutiny under the First Amendment. Again, this bill stands in direct contradiction to established legal precedent. The First Amendment stringently restricts government's interference with both the editorial discretion of private entities and the rights of individuals to access lawful expressions. I'd also like to note that the Chamber of Progress recently unveiled our 404 awards, which if you ever use the internet and you see a broken link, it says 404, and we rank this as one of the worst bills we've seen coming out of states in this country. For these reasons, we urge you to oppose this current piece of legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall and the Chamber of Progress. Let me just say quick in response that the objections you raised are legitimate, and actually I share some of them. They apply almost certainly to the underlying 4696 bill, but I think they've been addressed by the 8-2 amendment. So I urge you to look at that and see, because we've carved out many of the algorithms.
Yep, and we'll take a look at that. I was appreciative of the members' voice amendment today at this hearing.
Senator Rasmussen.
Mr. Chair, if I could, you're correct. The provisions that underlie the concerns of our testifier here have been removed through the amendment and no longer are contained within the bill.
Thank you.
Senator Rasmussen.